Alabama at Georgia. Georgia's a 3.5-point favorite. Game's at 7:30 Eastern on ABC. My thought on this game is that for all the consternation about Kalen DeBoer's tenure in Alabama, the one thing his team has done here and everywhere is they show up in the big games. The big games, the big stages, the best opponents, his teams usually don't disappoint. They got out to that
quick
28
interjection, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you care about them blowing the 28-0 lead last year? Because that to
Well,
me was like red flag. That was an early red flag.
It was weird. But they also were able to get a 28-0 lead against a good Georgia team. And I think
it's a bit of
like
a Rorschach test. Yeah.
Last year, like they blow out LSU. Like the losses were bad losses. The wins were good wins. That was the whole thing with that with Alabama. Ty Simpson's been pretty good this year. Like he was not the problem, I don't think, against Florida State. And I think Florida State was that a big game. Well, I think you could say coming in a 2-10 team, Alabama's like a 2-touchdown favorite. Like maybe it's very possible Alabama did just straight up overlook them. And Tennessee was able to move the ball over the top on Georgia for the first time. And you know who Alabama has? Ryan Williams, who's very good at going over the top. So very curious about this matchup. That's not my pick yet, but I don't think we get an Alabama letdown at the very least. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a narrative flipper for them. You know, coming off that Florida State game, like nobody's talking about Bama. Bama's just, you know, we mentioned this after the first week. Like Bama's been the main character of college football for 15 years. You know, whether or not they were playing, like they influenced stuff. They people were scared of them. They were sort of like the big bad at the very end. That's not the case anymore. And so nobody's taking them seriously as a title contender. You know, the way they looked against Florida State. You know, the Vultures are definitely circling Kalen DeBoer. They've been pretty good since then. They haven't been really pushed. But I'm kind of with you on this. I think they I'm going to go with Bama to cover in this game. I don't think they win. But I wouldn't be surprised if they won. Because I'm not that impressed with Georgia. You mentioned Georgia got outplayed by Tennessee in that ball game. Yeah. They were fortunate to win it. You know, they got that kind of weird kick there at the end. So I'm really curious what Bama can do if they can avoid some of these letdowns that we've seen. But this is the game that I think can get people, you know, respecting Bama again. I feel like there's a lot of disrespect.
I think with Georgia, I like their skill players than I thought coming into the year. Like I was been pretty impressed with Gunnar Stockton, and I'm more concerned about them in the trenches than I was coming into the season. It's kind of a reverse of last year. Gunnar Stockton, I'm very curious. Does Bama make him throw to the middle of the field? Because he did not do that against Tennessee. Every play he made against Tennessee was to the outside. So how does Bama adjust to that? I'm going to go Alabama to cover as well. Do we know if Georgia's going to be wearing black jerseys?
I never care about this, so I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Well, you remember the one they wore the black jerseys against Alabama and got destroyed.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that, but just like ahead of games, like I usually find out what teams are wearing when I turn the game on. I just don't. I never have cared about this.
I doubt that they are. This should be a lot of fun. We're both going with road underdogs. You and I here. I do like Alabama here as well. We will see.